Do you want to know all about the questions you send on tax number in Portugal and company tax number? Watch this video. Hello, this is Maria from visasinportugal.com, today with another video for you. Today is Monday, so we are going to answer all the questions you have submitted by email, on the comments of our videos, or in the forums at visasinportugal.com. Because you asked for, today I'm going to answer all your questions on NIF, company, tax number, and all about the questions you have submitted. So stay around. If this is information you like, hit subscribe, say you love it, and we go from there. Okay? Let's see these questions. Can I apply for a NIF online? We all wish. No, you cannot. If you search online, they say, oh, you can ask for a NIF online if you go to Balcão at the tax office portal. But in order for you to have access to that portal, you have to have a Portuguese tax number and then a password. So how can you do it? You can always hire an attorney, a solicitor, and they can do that for you. You can go to visasinportugal.com and we can do everything remotely for you, okay? Does the NIF expire? It does not. It's that number that will stay free with you forever, okay? Is a fiscal representative mandatory to get it? Well, if you are a citizen from outside of Portugal, if you live abroad, you need to have a fiscal representative. But imagine you already have a rental contract in Portugal, which is difficult to obtain when you don't have a NIF. The NIF is that number that you need to have in order to do anything in Portugal. If you have a Portuguese address, if you comply and you say with your honor that you are going to update all the addresses, all your phone information, contacts, email, and everything, they will let you have a Portuguese tax number without a representative. But normally, almost always, when you issue a NIF, a Portuguese tax number, you need to have a fiscal representative. After you have that number and you change the address to Portuguese, then you can remove that fiscal representative, okay? How do I appoint a fiscal representative? Excellent question. Normally, is the person that you hire to do your NIF, and it needs to be a Portuguese person, okay? So if you are going to do these on your own, you need to have a Portuguese person that you indicate as your representative. But again, if you have all the information of an address in Portugal, contacts and everything, you should be able to go without, especially if you are from an European Union country. How is tax residency defined? Okay, so a country where you spend 183 days is the country where you are a tax resident of. In Portugal, it has a little twist. Why? Because nowadays we don't control who enters, who's out in terms of how long it stays to become a tax resident as they do in other countries. So you need to have your Portuguese tax number, your NIF, associated to a Portuguese address in order to be a legitimate tax resident of Portugal, okay? And then that Portuguese address needs to be for more than 183 days. But the moment you put a Portuguese address associated to your Portuguese tax number, your NIF, you become a tax resident of Portugal, okay? Do I need to change my tax address when moving? Yes, you do. Imagine, some of our clients tell us, I moved out of Portugal 2 years ago. Why am I still a tax resident? Well, did you inform the tax authorities that you were moving elsewhere? You didn't. So your Portuguese address is still associated to your Portuguese tax number. Therefore, you are a tax resident. Okay? How do I change my status from non-resident to resident? Again, you need to have a Portuguese address associated to your Portuguese tax number. That's how you become a resident, a fiscal resident, not an immigration resident, because for that, you need to have a visa, a residency permit, and whatnot. Go check our videos on that subject, okay? What happens to my fiscal representation after I become a resident? Well, if you become a resident, what does this mean? If you put a Portuguese address associated to your tax number and you say nothing about your fiscal representative, it stays the same. They are your fiscal representative, regardless if you have a Portuguese address or not. But if you change your Portuguese address, you put it in your tax number, your NIF, and you expressly say, I don't want to have a tax representative, then it would be removed, okay? Can I be penalized if I do not update my tax address? Yes, you need to report that change within 15 days. Well, but it really depends. You're talking about your change of address within the country. You're moving to another location in Portugal. You have 15 days. I don't think the penalty is that big. If you say, Maria, I don't even think that penalty really exists. By law, it should, but I don't know anyone that had that fine. Now, if you say, Maria, I moved from Portugal again to Thailand. I didn't change my address. What is the penalty? You are a tax resident of Portugal and you need to comply with those taxes. How do I avoid double taxation? Well, this is really important. As you saw in other videos we did, there are tax agreements between several countries, Portugal and several countries. Check yours out. Normally, Article 13 is very good when it comes to income, and Article 9 as well, so you can see how are they going to tax. Double taxation is huge, and Portugal is very keen on avoiding so. So check that double tax treaty and check what are the rules for you to avoid that double taxation. Again, your circumstances define the outcome, define your tax submission, define your IRS. So it's really important that you have a meeting with a specialist, an attorney that is specialized on finances, on taxation, okay? You can ask us at visasinportugal.com. You can book a strategy meeting where we can inform you about everything that can occur or not regarding your circumstances, okay? Now, tax number, Portuguese tax number for companies. Is this NIPC the same as a corporate tax identification number? Yes. For corporate bodies and entities, the NIPC is the same as the NIF for companies. NIF is for individuals. NIPC is for companies, okay? Is the NIPC the same as a commercial registry number? Well, yes, for most modern companies, but again, the registry number, the commercial registry number, you need to associate that to the public notary. You need to associate that to the RCBE, which is the beneficial number. So there's a lot of identification number. It really depends on the company, on what do you want to ask me, okay? Does a foreign company need an NIPC to operate in Portugal? Yes. Without that, they cannot operate in Portugal. And then check that video I did last week. It's really important to know what does the company want to do in Portugal. Do they only want to purchase a property? Do they want to purchase and sell properties? Do they want to start working in Portugal, have a branch of their own company here in Portugal? There's a lot of different steps to go around depending on what does that foreign company wants to do in Portugal. Okay, so I hope I have answered all your questions. I always love these Monday videos where I get to answer your questions, where we get to interact through the camera. So if you have more questions, send them in the comments, send us an email, go to our website at visasinportugal.com. I'm here for you. I've got your back. Send them over and I'll do a video about them, okay? See you. Bye.